Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Ashton. I'm the founder of Active Solutions AI, where we build what's arguably the most sophisticated conversational AI on the market. We're also pretty sick at running ads. So I was asked to take a look at a marketing campaign, and they were nice enough to give us some context as well, which I love. So high ticket medical space, spinal decompression campaign. Leads are very good since the goal was to get more quality rather than the quantity, but lead flow is just way too low. So we're going to take a look at this ad campaign. We're going to break it down. I'm going to do a full audit on what I would do to try to improve the performance, and we're going to go from there. Okay, so I'm going to try to do more of a statistical analysis of the campaign and how it's set up and kind of what I would do to change it and manipulate it. Mainly because you can always have better ads or ad creatives or better hooks or whatever it might be, or someone that's better in front of the camera. So obviously that's always going to improve the quality of the ad and whether or not it hits the Facebook algorithm how it's supposed to. But let's just take the controllables, right? Because I can't control the type of ads or creatives that are going to be put in this campaign, or whoever's recording the ads, I can't control what they're saying, etc. So we're going to focus on the controllables, on what we can actually change within the campaign and how it's set up. We're going to go about it that way. So this is the campaign. It looks like, so we have two ad sets, each of which spending $40 per day under one campaign. It looks like they're both dynamic creatives. So if I break these down, let me see if I can find the difference first. Okay, so after taking a look at this, it seems like the only difference between the two ad sets is that one is using Advantage audience and the other is not. So this one, if I'm looking at the audience, it looks like we're using original audience. And then if we move over to this one, it looks like we're using Advantage. And the Advantage one is killing it. So what are the first things that I could do when looking at this ad campaign and analyzing it? I could say this one is obviously performing better, generating more leads with the same budget being applied, and we're getting a lower cost per lead. So why not apply all of the budget to this one so that we can obviously generate more leads for the budget that we have on the account, which looks like a total of $80 per day. But you could break this down even more. So that's the easiest step to take, right? You could take a look at the overall analysis of which ad set is performing best, and then you could kind of break that a little bit deeper and look into it even further as far as like how many ad creatives are within the ad set itself or the dynamic campaign, and then see which ones are performing. So here's exactly what I mean, because I just realized that was extremely confusing how I explained that. So let's click on this one, for example, and we're going to go to breakdown. We're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom. We're going to go to dynamic creative element, and we're going to be able to see the performance of all these individually. So now these are all of the creatives within the dynamic creative being tested. So if you look, 7 Facebook leads, it looks like this ad hasn't been running for very long, but if you look, we have 7 leads generated total. We have 5 being generated from this ad, right? So this one hit the algorithm okay, $36 per lead. And then we have $33 per lead, so that one's worth kind of like figuring out whether or not it's going to perform. Okay, cool. So that gives us some info there. Now, if we break this up again, we have the Advantage campaign, which has generated significantly more leads. It looks like this first one is crushing it at $25 per lead. And then we have this one that's generated 6 leads with $33 per lead, which is pretty solid. And I know that this one is generating $33 per lead, and if you go up to the top one, it's also performing well on the other ad. So we're getting 36 on that same ad. This one just hasn't spent enough to hit the algorithm the same way that the other one is. Because if you look at the same creative, so the creative here has spent $300, $25 leads, and the creative here has only spent $9.57. So one thing that I would do is you could create an entirely new ad set. And after seeing this, instead of using a dynamic creative, I would pick maybe the top 2 or 3 creatives that are performing. In all honesty, I think we could probably get a lower cost per lead overall. We could probably get under 20 just off of testing creatives. But if we're utilizing the creatives that we have here, I would take the top 3 performers. So definitely this one, because it's the one that's about to take off here. 6 leads, $33. So I would take this one, I would take this creative, and then I would take maybe one that hasn't necessarily spent enough to see whether or not it's done well. So this ad with the blue has gotten 1 lead for 33. Ad with the blue has gotten nothing. This person 36, and this person nothing. So really you could select any of these because it doesn't seem like there's any significant data that's backing any of these up. But definitely this one here and the second one that's following up there. So I would test both of these out without dynamic creative, and I would launch those pretty much the same way, just without dynamic creative. So, and I would try to find maybe one honorable mention ad creative as well to throw in the batch. Okay, so now I'm just going to go under the ad set of the one that's performing best, and we're going to dive a little bit deeper into the ad level. So the first thing that I see right away, I would turn off multi-advertiser ads. Basically what this means, Facebook tricks you and tells you that it's going to show your ad to more people, but what it's really doing is it's grouping your ad alongside other people's ads. So you're going to get more impressions, but it's not singling you out in any way. So the cost per lead is going to go up, because think about it like this. So if you have this turned off, then you're going to see this ad by itself on a feed, right? Or on your stories or whatever it might be. If you turn this on, it's saying, hey, your ad will be shown to more people. But what's happening is it's showing your ad next to other ads or even next to your competitors. So it has like your ad along with 3 other people's ads. And now there's no way to single you out. So what I would do is turn this off right away. Next thing, I want to make sure that the ad creative itself is following the 5-second rule. The 5-second rule is basically how I gauge if an ad is going to hit the algorithm accordingly. So in the first 5 seconds of the ad, if it's a video, which this one is, you should know who it's for, what it is, and where it's at. And that last one is obviously if it's a brick and mortar. So let's play this ad really quick. Okay, boom. So we got the who it's for, and that's pretty much it. So all we got in the first 5 seconds was who the ad is for. It's obviously for people that have back pain. Now, if we in the first 5 seconds we can create a video that has a hook that is going to showcase who it's for, where it's at, and what it is, we are going to get significantly better results. How Facebook works is it tracks the amount of people, or it tracks who is spending the most time on the ad and watching the entire video, or clicking the read more button in the description, or opening the lead form, whatever it might be. It takes the demographic data from those people, and it automatically retargets the people who are most likely to be interested, so people who match the demographics. So in the first 5 seconds, you need to make sure that anybody who is a perfect fit for this is going to know whether or not it's for them. So we checked off one box, back pain. Now we should showcase the location. So like, if, for example, a good hook or an example of a hook, you could probably put some more thought into it than I'm going to in this video, but you could say something like, are you in the X, Y, and Z area and you can't, stand for long periods at a time? Well, here at X, Y, and Z, we do whatever to cure back pain, as we've done for thousands of people. So that would probably take like 5 to 7 seconds to say, but you get the point. And that was probably terrible. But that's an example of how you could check off all of those boxes so that someone who is a perfect fit and in the area and knows this is what it's for and this is for me is going to be able to spend more time on that ad because you've attracted them and you've basically called them out, and now they're able to retarget people that look like that. So for this chiropractic ad, that would probably be people between the ages of 33 and 50, with a household income of above 100,000, and then a certain location within the radius, maybe a zip code within the mile radius that you target, whatever. But he would be able to take that ad and say, oh, this is what the people who spend the most time on the ad look like. Now I'm going to show the ad to more people like this so that the cost per lead decreases. So that's kind of how the algorithm works. Definitely over-explain that, but hopefully that gave you guys some good context on exactly like what I look for whenever I'm posting these ads. Let's go ahead and scroll down. So the next thing, if you look at the ad and how it's set up, in order, this is exactly how people's attention go. So number 1 is creative. The ad creative is the most important part about the ad. Number 2 is going to be what is readable before the see more in the description. A lot of people think the headline is more important. It's not true. This is what people see next. So up here at the top of whatever is viewable, you want to make sure there is, you want it to follow the 5-second rule, right? So who it's for, where it is, and what it is. Right here in the top, which it looks like sick and tired of putting up constant chronic back pain. So back pain, yes. So that's who it's for, people with back pain. And then there's nothing really else there. So we don't know what's going on. We don't know what the offer is. We don't know anything that's happening here. So I would change this in the beginning. This is the most important part before the see more. And then I like to say, I like to put at the end, like I like to give an incentive to click the see more button to read the rest of the ad. So this is an example of what people would do. They would click the see more button and that would open up the entire ad copy. So I would say, I would make sure I'm showcasing the 5-second rule, everything that needs to be up here. And then I would put, here's how it works, ... right? And then you would see more. And now you have to click that button in order to see the rest or see how it works. That is exactly how I would set this up. And then everything else in here, the body of the copy is perfect, breaks down basically everything you need to know. So the only thing I would change here is up here. And then the third most important thing is the headline. So the headline's actually not that important as long as it, I think these headlines are perfect. Headline isn't really going to be a game changer for cost per lead, etc. All right, now let's take a look at the form. So let's see. I got to scroll down. Okay, so here we go. I see that we are doing a short answer for the phone number, which typically means that you're having an issue with getting real phone numbers. Here's my theory on this as well. I don't like this. And here's the reason why. I know you get fake phone number submissions, etc. When you do the short answer for the phone number, in my opinion, I think you'll get a higher cost per lead and you'll definitely get more correct phone numbers. But if you do the reverse, where you basically only allow, also if you're doing a short answer phone number, I would also remove the phone number here on the contact field. Now just put full name and email. But if you take this away, right? Take away the short answer and just leave the form with the phone number, you're going to get fake phone numbers, wrong phone numbers, whatever it might be, because it's an autofill. But you're going to get more form submissions, which means you're going to get more data for the algorithm to retarget. So more demographic data is going to be collected for the algorithm to do its thing. Overall, I guarantee if you generate, or if let's just say you spend $1,000 on a short form with entering your phone number, and you spend $1,000 on no short answer, and you only have this, I bet if you had the exact same process for scenario 1 and scenario 2, I bet you would get more deals with this. The only reason that people typically put a short answer is because their clients complained about low lead quality or people submitting wrong phone numbers, which is understandable, but that's kind of the game. The algorithm works on submissions and demographic data that's collecting. So in the end, you're definitely going to get more wrong phone numbers and more low quality leads. That's fine. That's inevitable. But you're going to get way more medium quality leads and way more high quality leads as well. So usually people will sign up with an agency, start working with them. They complain within the first 2 days about how they're I got 3 leads and 2 had fake phone numbers or 2 phone numbers were incorrect or whatever it might be. And then that gauges us to create a short answer on the form and then decrease our overall results that we're going to get with the ad. So in my opinion, I never do the short answer. The only time I would do the short answer for the phone number is if your client is really adamant about this and they're getting sick and tired of the fake phone numbers and that's the only way that you're going to make them happy, then I would do this. But in 99% of cases, I won't. All right, and now let's, I think we beat that horse to death, so let's keep moving forward. Okay, so last thing here. So don't want to wait. Confirm your consultation now by clicking on the pain assessment button below and filling out our 10 questionnaire. I kind of want to see the pain assessment. Let's see what we got going on with the pain assessment then. All right, so I'm going to copy this down and we're going to open this up in a new page. Okay, so far I like this. So we're collecting the information on the lead form, and then we're going through the questionnaire. Let's go ahead and answer all of the questions. Perfect. Okay, so my opinion so far, I think the questionnaire is way too long. I think the majority of this should be handled by somebody over the phone. I think regardless of if you're booking an in-person appointment, etc. Here's another controversial topic, in my opinion. Also, I'm basing this off of having 170 clients. So I know a little bit. So we have, I think a large portion of this should be handled by someone on the phone. And I know people want an automated process and they just want bookings, high quality bookings, people that are going to walk in and pay for the services. That's just not how life works. So inevitably part of running an agency comes coaching. After you've worked with enough people within the same niche, you kind of know exactly how the game works and you know what people should and shouldn't do. With chiropractic specifically, I always think that someone should be on the phone with the person before they even have the chance to walk inside of the facility. So we should have a little less friction here. Maybe even just send them straight to a calendar and then have a form embedded to the calendar so they can't, and then maybe just have, let's say 4 to 5 questions on that form. So let's say, who are you filling this out for? And then 2, 3, 4. I think that's fine. And then stop it there. Let the calendar booking take control. And then there should be an SOP for receptionists or anybody that's working at the chiropractic facility. We get that person on the phone. Number one priority needs to be get them on the phone before the time of their appointment, because then we can build a little bit of rapport. We can go over the information that they submitted. We can ask the additional questions, which would be something like this, something like this, and something like this, and then a more personal question, which would be something like this, which not a lot of people want to give over the form. So this right here, people could be getting to this point and then exiting the form. So this is the type of stuff that you want to get over the phone after you've kind of built some rapport, called the person, have a happy tone when you're talking to the person, talk about the weather for 10 to 15 seconds, and then we kind of get into details where we confirm the information they've provided on the form. We get the rest of the information. Show rate is going to go through the roof. Sales are going to go through the roof, and that is how the process should go. A lot of people want it to be automated. Unfortunately, life just isn't fair, and life is not that easy. 100% we should be coaching people through this process. But overall, I think it's a really nice landing page. I think it's a great form, and I think it's like a solid process for all the people who do go through this and complete it entirely and then book themselves in. I bet they're very high quality. But I think that there is a better way to decrease the cost per booked appointment and decrease cost per acquisition, and that's with SOPs and implementing or coaching them through the process on what best practices are in order to make that happen. So hopefully this is beneficial. Thank you guys for watching, and this is just, again, these are all my opinions. This is what I would do if I was running the campaign. There is no right or wrong answer in most cases. Well, there's definitely wrong answers. I don't think there's always a right answer. I think everybody kind of has their own way of being right, and they have their own strategies, but hopefully this was helpful. If you want, you can go in the description below. I have a free, 100% free community and free course that walks you through how to set up Facebook ads, how to create your own sales pipeline, and how to close deals. So click that below, and we'll catch you in the next one.